Hey, Don here. Okay, I am back again with another live stream, and I'm actually going to go back to work on the NetProMax install, and this time for Fedora 29 server edition on it. And I already have the net install ISO written to a USB stick, and I've used it before. I've actually kind of bounced back and forth the last couple of times between 28 and 29 because it turns out that the net install ISO, when I used it the first time with Fedora 28, no flaws, no problems, but I just clicked the basic stuff. I just clicked on server install. I'll have to show you, or well, I'll sort of show you, but I could show you in the, with the camera you can't read it, but I can tell you. But anyway, I clicked on some basic stuff and it worked. But if you start adding software groups and stuff, that's when you get into bugs that things hang up. It works happily until you get almost to the end of the install, then it breaks. And that's really aggravating, so I'm going to try it one more time, and if that doesn't work, I'll probably still use it to install just very basic, and then use my group install scripts. I'll have to re-edit them to get what I want out of them and not, because what I set up was everything I have on this system, which is quite a bit of stuff. I thought it would come up, but it's not coming up. Maybe I'm working the machine a little hard, but check my resources here. Oh yeah, let's check my, I'm getting my backup video, so I'll close this. And here is something I found the last time. I guess I did it this might be in my last video on the NetProMax, but I'm going to go over this right here, what I found. Here's somebody having the same problem. I've got a cough drop in my mouth because I was coughing earlier. And let me make sure my sound is all working and everything before I continue. Okay. Anyway, now here's the error. Fatal error, installation will be aborted. And I can't read it all, but anyway, it boils down to text fonts Hebrew. Not there, it's not there. It's looking for it, and it's not there in this group of packages. Someone else is also getting it on Fedora 28 64-bit. I've done 28 64-bit and 29, same error. I had another error that maybe, I don't remember exactly. I had another error that I figured out how to get around. Same type of thing on a different set of packages. And so I omitted that other set of packages. Oh, it was the security group, live security group. It had something like that in it. And when I eliminated it, then it went past that, no problems. But then I got it in something you wouldn't expect. Authoring and publishing, a real common thing, I guess they're both common, but and right here is something I didn't notice until yesterday, I guess, when I was looking back over it. I guess this is the error readout, and I didn't ever see that, but it says UD map error. Did you run? This looks like an error readout. Maybe you had to go run something to find this, but anyway, in the terminal, did you run make text LSR? You can disable non-existing map entries using the option / sync with trees, TREES. But of course, you'd have to do some custom work. You'd have to be getting into the command line, and this is a graphic user interface, so you can do it, but I don't know. Maybe you could do it at the beginning, just like I do to do my via NC. I do not have that command in front of me. I haven't booted up that machine yet. I just now remembered I do need to. Makes me want to try that. I don't know. I don't want to get a whole bunch of junk installed that's turns out to be orphan packages that can't work because, the other stuff is not there. So I don't think I'll try that. But let me find what I'm looking for. I've got all my sticky notes up here. but I don't have them set up. I decided to just start with the desktop because I have so much trouble with my camera not syncing. When I go from my intro music, is what I've figured out, straight to camera one, I get a horrible delay. And usually it doesn't even look. I'm talking about my mouth ain't moving it so bad, and so I decided, well, I'll just go straight to desktop. I've been trying to fix it the last 2 days, real hard, and I do not know what I've done with it. I probably have it in another, like I've got staples. See, I've got staples on them. It's pretty delayed to me right now. I've got staples on them, and got them stuck together, so where I put it, in what group of stuff, I'm not sure now. I almost remember it. Let's see. But I don't want to just experiment. Where do I have that? I think I have it in my links, so I guess it'll be, because if I don't start it with VNC Remote Desktop Server, then I can't show it on my remote desktop. I completely forgot that. So let's go back to my links. Anyway, I'll finish on down here where I got sidetracked. So I don't think I'll try that because it's really not that important to me to work through that, around that bug, you know, that set of bugs really, on something wrong with the Anaconda installer, really. And I think it's always been a problem, really, because memory started coming back to me. I kind of wondered, well, this is so cool when I was using it and it was working. How come I haven't been doing that all these years? And I knew I'd tried it before, and I think it started coming back to me. I think I had the same type of problem, way back as before or around Fedora 14 or before, when I used it, the net install. It's cool because you can add more things, but if they don't work, then it's no good. And it's kind of cool because your first update is the installation, because it's bringing all the newest stuff in instead of, once you install from a CD or ISO or whatever, DVD, the first thing you need to do is update, and it's always like 750, 850 megabytes worth of stuff, which is not a big deal, but it can take an hour or so or more. And somebody answers. The only thing I can say to do is don't install the authoring and publishing, And so, but here, I didn't know which group still, so this gave me, I had no idea what group that Hebrew text fonts could possibly belong to, because, I just couldn't guess. Now, I was able to guess with the security one because it was Nmap, I think, or Ntop, I think it was Ntop, and I thought, well, what group would that belong into? And I narrowed it down. What I did is I would deselect the one I guessed. That wasn't in it, so then I would deselect the next one, and I would try it again, and finally, and it took me 2 or 3 tries, and I figured it out. But this particular error doesn't come up. This was at the beginning of the install, so it didn't take you quite so long to experiment. This is after it gets past the first phase. It gets everything done with the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes of installation, and then it does. I don't know how much time's left, but that thing is, more than 3/4 of the way to the end. The blue line's more than 3/4 of the way to the end. So if you're running into that trouble, you could try, I mean, if this doesn't make my installation work, and I still have other bugs and other groups of packages, group installs, then I'll just go back to doing my group installs with my scripts that I make, because what I'm doing, I'm kind of doing the same thing as what it says here. I never heard of this commands. Disable non-existent map entries, which I guess that means, this might be a good way to do it. Instead of, I use yum skip broken. That's what I use, or y skip broken. It's -- skip broken, and then I put a Y, I think, after, a space -Y after that or something. I'd have to show you my script, but that's not what I'm really after right now. So, now let's get back to what I need to know. Get back to my bookmarks here, and
let's get back to what I need to know.
Let me try to. I had that too loud there on my preview on the laptop. But anyway, on my Fedora links here. I need to find the one about VNC. Can't read it all. I have to click on it and then see down here what my names are too long for that space there. Could make it wider, but actually I may have it as wide as you can get it. Well, I don't want to lose anything else on the right. I want to see what I can see there. I know I have it in here somewhere. It might be in there. I guess I'll have to search. There we go. That might be the one I want. Let's see. There. Finally remembered it. So you just need to append the boot menu with the command inst.vnc. I don't think you even need dashes or anything. You can also put a password in there, but I don't need that here on my local network. I don't think that little note there is going to help. Yeah, that's all about the boot menu, but let's see. I did have to look into how to do that, because actually I believe what I remembered was a little wrong, but I think it's because I remembered from Grub 1, or Legacy Grub as they call it. But this is the Grub 2 now. So inst.vnc is what we need, and I usually write that if I don't have it written down, and I have the instructions of each little step. Let's see, we're going to hit tab, the space inst.vnc, this may only work on net install too. I tried it on the regular Mate desktop install and it didn't work. It just didn't do anything. Yeah, it let me put it in there, but it ignored what I did. So I'm writing it to boot to VNC server. Let's see, tab, and then base inst.vnc. First time I tried it, I did it backwards. I put vnc.inst. I think I had to try to remember, from when I read, and then hit enter. I believe that's it. I've been doing it lately, so I have a little bit fresher memory. Okay, so I'll leave that open in case I need to get back to it. Now I have my, I've already got my USB stick in there, and there's a cap to it. I got it labeled with 29 on there and Fedora net install on the actual stick, and I put that up there for something to have up there in case I needed to use my USB camera for this. So I'm going to get on the camera so that you can see, what I'm doing. Go ahead and switch. Let's see, what machine is that? Yeah, that's the last machine on there. Switch my KVM switch. Start it up. I'm using my remote there. See my remote? Okay. Oops. Almost dropped my remote. Now we should be seeing it booting up, and should just go. If it doesn't go straight to the USB stick, I'll have to go into BIOS. I'll have to catch it and reboot it. No, it did. It sees it. Fedora 29 install. I've already checked the USB media, so I'm just going to use the arrow keys to go up and then hit enter to do install Fedora 29. Oh wait, before I do that, what do I got to do? Oh, tab. Did I say tab? Yeah. Now get it up there. Get all the way up to the top on the arrow keys, not the very top, but the top of those two. There's only three. Install Fedora, test this media, and troubleshooting. So you want to be at install Fedora 29. Hit tab. There we go. Space inst.vnc. All right. Yep. Hit enter. Pretty simple. Assuming I got it right. But see that. I keep thinking that I forget that my stream is behind. I get so aggravated with all the delay and stuff between the audio and video. I've been trying to fix it recently, and finally decided to. Well, I have figured out that there's when I play my intro music and go straight from that to camera one, that causes real bad delay. But if I go to the desktop first, then it straightens it out a whole lot. But I thought, well, if I'm gonna go to the desktop first, I might as well just start out on the desktop, you know. So I did that this time. So now we're booting up, and we should go straight to the Anaconda graphic boot setup, and then I'll just well, as soon as I get oh yeah, no, it won't go straight to that. It will stop and tell me the IP address, which I forgot what it usually is on this machine, so that'll be helpful. And then I will use, actually you don't use the normal VNC port. It uses port 1 instead of 5900. The way the instructions say it, it led me to believe it was going to be 5901. But what it is just port 1. We'll see if it does it again. I don't think it'll ever change. I think it's always going to be the same. I don't think there's any random. It's done it every time so far. But the good thing about doing it, you know, watching your whole, until it gets to that, it's waiting on you then to connect before it continues into the graphic user interface. So, has it got there yet? It's pretty small text, so even if I had a good camera, it'd be hard to see. It says, warning, you're running a server with VNC server with no password. Okay, there it is. 192.168.0.153 port 1. And of course, that's only on the local network, not on the internet, so don't bother. Oh, I started to turn off the machine. I'm using my remote again. And no, I don't have port 1 open to the internet. Or 5900 for sure. Okay, so now, got to get over here and get in my, I'll close my browser to give this machine a break on the different things it's got to run. And already forgot what the IP was because I was jabbering. I guess, yeah, at 153, that's what I have the router set to always give that machine. Pretty sure. Yep. Okay, so make it fit that. Wait, I did it wrong. I always hit the wrong one. That one makes it fit, and then you can do that and you'll have a complete full screen. So there we go. Now, it's already on English, and that's what I want, so the bottom right, continue. Done this enough times lately, and it takes a bit, so don't think it's not working. It takes a bit even when you're not on VNC. Now I don't, you know, it does it on fast machines, and this is only the NetProMax is it's actually sort of a fast machine for in its day, except for it's a Celeron processor, but it's a 2.8 gigahertz, but it's a single core Pentium class is what they call them. And it has 2 gig of RAM, so that's pretty good for a machine like that, you know. But it when I installed it on my quad core with a 4 gig of RAM, Lenovo i5, call it Lenovo with an i5 quad core and 4 gig of RAM, it took same thing. Just something about that initial getting ready, you know, click that first button, and some of the others take a bit. At the bottom is where you get your information that tells you what to do, that yellow thing, which I didn't even notice at first. just because it's a yellow stripe with a caution sign, down there. And I don't read from bottom to top. I read left to right, and I go one line at a time. And so it took me, and stuff at the bottom, the outer edges, I ignore generally on the internet or on programs. So that's in a weird place for me. Anyway, it says please complete the marked items before continuing. So, and these are working like the destination we're going to have to set up. The installation software, and now right now it's still downloading the group metadata, so we can't do that yet. The software selection, well, we can't do that yet either because it's still downloading the group metadata. Keyboard is US, language support is English, and time and date is now. Normally, I always change that to America, Chicago, because that's Central Time. Denver, I don't think is actually Central Time, but I did that once, and the whole thing locked up the machine. So I don't know if it was coincidental or not, but I'm not going to do it right at this point. So it may be another bug. I'm not sure. But the destination we can go ahead and do. Oh, and before I forget, I always do that before I forget, I go ahead and click on the network host name and put what I want in there. And I did click on it, and it still hasn't done anything yet, but let's just wait. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it always defaults to localhost.local domain, and put whatever you want in there. You can, since it's a server, I probably could put like my main website, bishopco.com, but I can't remember. There may be other things you got to set up, and it might cause problems, but it doesn't cause me any problems with I have to forward, using GoDaddy, I have to forward everything to see, I have a dynamic IP address that changes ever so often, so I have to use forwarding anyway, so it doesn't actually matter in my case. I usually put Bishop Co because that helps me know that's my server. And I do have a couple of machines that have that name now, but they're not going to be running it, stay that way or run at the same time. Actually, well, like say the one, my Gateway 500 that I used as my backup server, it's called Gateway 500. It doesn't make any difference what the name is when you're forwarding like I do anyway. And the IP and all that is already up there. And yeah, and see, I've got a gigabit connection. That's something that I can't believe that, but evidently this old machine has a gigabit onboard Ethernet adapter. It says 1,000 megabits, and then 192.168.0.153, and that /24. I did not know what that meant. I thought it was an IP range, like 20, like with the DNS server. It's not. It is the okay, I forgot the terminology, but it's the 255.255. It's what for some reason /24 means that they're using 255. So on, so on, all 255s. As the I might remember it later. Anyway, I learned that when I was trying to set this thing up as a DNS server, and then the DNS servers that it's getting its IP from is my charter DNS servers. So oddly enough, it doesn't show my router. Well, that's what my router's getting. That's what's showing in my router. So that's why it's showing that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense now. Okay, you got to hit apply first down here, but then you got to go contrary, and there it shows the current host name. It's been changed on the bottom right. Contrary to going right in here, like I've clicked on that configure before. I don't know how many times, because just there's a button. Click it. That's got to be the right one. Well, no, the done button is the top left in this thing. And it drives me crazy, so I'm going to gripe about it every time I see it, I guess. Okay, now the installation destination. Go up there, click on that. Now this is only 1.47 megabytes free of the 74.56 gigabytes on this 80 gig hard drive. So just because I've tried to install it a couple of times and had failures. I'm still going to use automatic, but I'm going to say I would like to click on that. I would like to make additional space available. And in this case, you don't hit apply or anything. You could encrypt it if you wanted, but I'm not going to do that because then I wouldn't be able to read my data. If anything was broke, I couldn't read the data to copy it, and and all that stuff to back it up and stuff. So if the operating system gets broke, then you can't read your data anymore. So not so I'm not going to do it in this case anyway. Okay, so back up here, left top, done. But you're not really done. Now it's going to actually let you select what you want to do at the drive. And I want it to delete everything that's already on there. I don't want any of those old partitions. It was a failed install. So 74.55 gigabyte reclaimable space. And I already clicked, delete all. So now it says preserve all. You could, click that would. Don't click it again. And it installs a total of 2.4 gigabyte. Oh yeah, this is just the basic server. That's all it would take. Anyway, then you click right there, reclaim space. Okay, now this time you didn't have to click done. It did it for you. Okay, now you're not ready to begin installation yet because you need to go in here to installation source as closest mirror. Now you could go in there and change that, but I didn't see anything that I could change. Unless you knew some secret address, IP address of a Fedora mirror, then it's not of any use to me. The Bane actually gives you a list, and it sometimes really helps you to go in there. And some of them there's a list of known mirrors, but some of them are not active or they're down or whatever. So you go in there and find the ones that show good. Sometimes you actually have to get it to work, especially on the net install, and then save it, get out of there, and then go on. So the last thing that I need to do, though, and this is where everything can go good or bad, click on software selection and go in there and select the software you want. And when it comes up, I'll show you what all that business about the error and what is and was. And let's see, authoring and publishing. Yeah, got to remember, I didn't write that down. I don't know if I got a bad click or what. It still hasn't moved. I don't want to do it too many times. Maybe I didn't get a good click. I'll try it again. Now, there we go. Evidently I didn't. Okay, now it defaults to Fedora server. Now there's all these other options. That's what looks so cool about it, if it will work for you. You can pick desktops, custom operating system, custom Fedora. Down in here there's another web server section, and it's got a little bit different automatic, pre-selected. Well, there's a pre-selected basics, and then it's got a different list of things you could add. And the basic desktop with the choice of window manager. Now, I'm going to do that in a minute so that I can try and get XFCE along with the server, because either one of these servers, they don't come with any desktop. So I'm just going to put the things I need. The DNS name server was the thing I did last time. One of the things I added. FTP server, and I won't open up, port 21 or 22 on the internet, just locally for me to administer, copy my website over. Guest editions, I don't think I need that. For a hypervisor, that's for a virtual machine, and I'm not going to be running, this thing can't run a virtual machine, and along with the web server and the GUI and everything, so I won't be doing any of that. I use a virtual machine all the time on my, I use VirtualBox, though. I haven't got into using, they're calling it Box now, or Boxy or something, the Fedora one. They called it KVM for a long time. But, there's it's different now. It's not the same one. High availability, load balancer. I'm going to try that, because if I can get that up and running, I don't know if it sets itself up automatically or if you have to go set up config files, but I could really use that so that I can keep people from working the machine too hard. It depends on exactly what load balancer, and it's been a long time since I've tried to mess with one, but I might be able to limit them to so much bandwidth and everything. Otherwise, I got to do something like use the router to do it or something to stop them from taking up all my upload speed. I've got 10 megabits, but if it got, and I usually don't get enough traffic, and don't really think I've been ever having trouble with that. I've never saw it in any logs that I've looked in or anything, but never know. Okay, no mail server, and I'm not going to do, I was going to set up like MariaDB and kind of get ready for PHP, dynamic websites, which a lot of them are use PHP stuff, .php, but I'm not, because I've had so much trouble getting all this stuff to install. So network servers, don't want a DHCP server, don't need NIS, Keyros, stuff like that. I don't really know how to use Keyros. I've read a little bit about it. I very vaguely remember NIS and what it is. Never really used it much. I don't need a network printer, this to be a network printer. There's not going to be a printer plugged into it, so that was there. Let's see, hardware support for special, like for real server hardware. Don't have that. This is just a desktop machine I'm making into a server. Don't want a Windows file server because that's so easily to be, so many vulnerabilities in this is going to be using Samba SMB, but there's just so many vulnerabilities in the Windows networking that I don't want any of that. And not on this machine. I really don't use it anymore. I used to have I always had other Windows machines I wanted to be able to, network with, so I always put Samba on there, but I don't really do that so much anymore. There's another PostgreSQL, another SQL that you could use instead of the other one, Maria, instead of Maria. Headless virtualization, not virtualization. I want remote management. That virtualization would be more virtual machines and stuff. Then basic web server I do want. That's Apache. That'll give you HTTPD. And that'll set it all up and it'll be up and running. That's a good way to do that. Administration tools, I want that. I don't need audio production on here. Authoring and publishing, that's the one we're going to have to skip. That's the one that gets that. And you would think, nope, really, it's for HTML, PDF, DocBook, and just text, just standard editing stuff. And that's the one that's hanging it up, making it fail. So I'm going to leave it out. Books and guides, I think I'll leave it out because usually I go online to look things up. I was putting it in there, but since I'm having trouble, that could be the next one that fails, so I won't do that one. C development tools, AutoMake's a good thing to have it. That's why I went in and tried that before, because AutoMake, something you end up needing when you want to install things, usually if you're going to install something from the code, I can't say, instead of an RPM, you'll just have a zip file or targz or whatever, compressed file. Why can't I say my words? Okay, anyway, I know what I'm trying to say, but maybe you do too. Source, from the source code. There we go. Cloud infrastructure, don't want the infrastructure, can't say anything right now. Cloud management, Compiz, so that's usually, that's effects, desktop effects. That just give more overhead. So there's more development tools. Let's see, I don't really need that either, or design suite. Okay, some more development tools. What's that for? Git and CVS. I won't get that either. Eclipse, I don't use that. Never did really learn too much about it. Now these editors, I haven't had any trouble installing them. That'll give you some text editors, Emacs and Vi and stuff. It can be really handy. Sometimes you have to do that, especially since last time I didn't put a GUI on it, so I had to edit things remotely, in the command line, and so it was really helpful to have those. Educational, no. Electronics lab, engineering, games and entertainment, headless management. That'll enable me. That'll give you, I think that's the group that gives you Cockpit, the remote management, and it has a terminal and it has some GUI click box, things like this, turn things on and off, and things start up things and stuff like that. I won't put, I'm going to put LibreOffice on there because I am going to put XFCE desktop on there. But you can't just do that. If you just go click on XFCE desktop over here, as well as these, you still won't end up with XFCE desktop. At least you didn't when the last time I tried it in Fedora 23. So I still don't think that happens. So it just lets you do it, but it doesn't work. But what I think I've figured out is go down here to basic desktop, and then you'll get all the desktops or a bunch of all of them over here in a list, and then I think that will go ahead and add it. I think that was why I wanted to do this way. Main reason. Medical Milky Mist. I like the name, but I don't know what that's even for. Office and productivity for that way you can main thing it mentions is PDF viewers. You don't pretty much need that most of the time. Python Classroom. I won't do that. Either one of those or robotics. I always want to install everything that looks interesting, but this is not a desktop machine. Now RPM development tools I'm going to do because RPM build. That might have, if I did need to install something straight from an RPM, that maybe that'll make it work without having to add any more stuff. Security Lab, that's the other one that hung up. Whoops, don't click on any. Even if you don't click on the box, it still selects it, so don't click there. Sound and video, yeah, you might need to be playing a bit of, you might want some basic sound and video players. System tools. It's just a client for SMB and some other stuff. I think that's pretty well worth having. Text-based internet, that could be useful if you had to try to look something up on it while maybe you were maybe I went out to the garage and, well, I'm not going to leave it as a without a graphic user interface, but just in case that doesn't work, I'll have those to fall back on in case I needed to do a basic Google search on something. I was out there in the garage. Maybe I get it out in the garage and something goes wrong and I don't have anything but command line. Well, you've got some text-based web browsers in there. I've used them before here and there in years past. Window managers, that aren't part of a larger desktop environment. Now, I don't know if you need those or not. And I think I'll skip them because I don't know what's in there. Now, I'm not going to go into any more of the extra stuff I did last time. I went through every single section, tried to add things that I thought I might be interested in. But the one thing I'm really interested in is the basic desktops. Now, you see some of this stuff's already selected because they're in both groups. Let's go back to the top, though. Cinnamon, Firefox, I want Firefox on there. I don't want Gnome because that's Gnome 3. I like Gnome 2, which that's what Mate is, the fork of. But on this machine, it's not really powerful enough for Mate. Legacy fonts, I'm not going to add those. They might be a problem or they might be missing. That's what I'm afraid of, so I'm not going to add those. XFCE is my favorite one of the lighter weight desktops. It seems to have most of the functionality I want. I actually like Mate the best. Oh, that's another desktop. It's Tiling Window Manager. Xmon for Mate. Tiling Window Manager. It's not really a desktop, I guess, just a window manager. No Ansible. Audio production. I'm not going to be doing any. No authoring and publishing. I saw that. Oh, I want that. No, that's the one you can't do. Okay. And then container management. I think I put that in there once because I thought I might try to add containers, but I'm going to wait on anything that I might do and install them with my group from the group list commands, probably with a script I'll set up. But okay, web and graphics. I really don't end up doing any. I put that in there, my Fedora 23 server, thinking I might use the web and animate. I really don't do any editing of my website on there because the machine's not powerful enough. I edit my website on my Lenovo i5 and then just upload it to this machine. So, okay, let's see. I think that. Oh, there's still some more. The bad thing about it is when this thing hangs up, you see how long this is taking, and I'm going faster than I used to go because I've done it so much recently. But if it messes up on you, then you've got to go back, start all over again. So let's look in the web server. I don't think there's anything in here that I need extra. Yeah, Java, MariaDB, which was something we already saw. PHP. Scripting language, like I was saying, that's a lot of it's kind of funny because there's two separate web server sections, but this is all your basic dynamic website stuff, in here, and some other stuff too. But to another section. So that leads me to believe that maybe you could select things from different base environments. That's what it calls it up here, base environment, and then add-ons for selected environment. Then you can select them all and then have them all be installed. But I actually have not, well, I know that if I just select XFCE desktop or mate, then you don't get all your server stuff. Or if you select the server stuff, if you're not, this is what happened to me before anyway. You wouldn't get everything you select. What I'm trying to say, but everything on the right side, if it happens to be in both groups and you have it selected, it stays. There we go. That's why I'm doing it this way. So that's why I go down here to get my desktop, because that makes you be able to select it on the right side. But if you go from one radio button on the left to the other, you're changing your base environment, and so you don't get everything in that base environment. You only get, for sure, what I'm 98.5% sure is that you get everything in the right side. But you can, what I think you can do is click on these, get what you know. If they end up being in both groups, I think it'll work. I'm going and getting confused again, but trying to explain what I'm trying to do here. But okay, so see what I have in here. Everything is this, a lot of the same stuff is in here. A lot of it, except for XFCE desktop and a couple of other things. So over here, when I go ahead and do my install, I'm going to do Fedora Server Edition and hit install. And now the XFCE desktop doesn't show up over here. It only shows up when you're down there in that other. So I may not get it. We'll see. And there's the custom. Well, we'll look at it just because I want to see what's in there. But this does not give you all the things though that I want. I couldn't build what I want right here. So that's why I don't use that. So I don't know the logic behind how they do all this. I'm not 100% sure how it works either, because Server Edition. Okay, because I didn't, every time you can't experiment till you're full of heart's content, because it hangs up and breaks on you. So I'm going to do what I've just done and see if it works. Now go over here and go done. It'll be another 10 or 20 minutes maybe before we find out if it works. Well, I didn't select as much software, so maybe it's checking the software dependencies, checking it. Okay, it's done with that. That's good. Now begin installation. Now normally if you're just doing a basic mate desktop, a regular desktop or whatever, by the time you do your root password and your user password, it's done. I mean, it's pretty fast nowadays, but not when you select a whole lot. I didn't select as much this time, so I need to see what password I want. And it starts out going pretty fast and then kind of slows down. Okay, I think I've got the idea here now. Okay, this is going to be my root password. I might have messed up. See if I can do that twice. Okay, I did. All right. Now then, on the user creation, I even on a server, I like to have a regular user and just log into that. And I usually just spell my name, full name. I do capitalize it like it should be, and then it automatically chooses, lowercase, same thing, and that's nice. I like that. They match, right? Okay. And I don't make my regular users administrator because it turns into, well, for one thing, it could end up being a security risk, but the other thing is because for malware or whatever, you know. But when I hit done, for whenever you this way, if you don't make it administrator, you won't get all this junk about sudo root, sudo user and all that stuff, sudo root privileges. You'll just have either regular user or root privileges. SU for super user privileges. That's all you'll have to deal with. And if something pops up wanting a password, you'll be asking for the root password. Instead of like you want to, where it could be one or the other, and you'll be just. I'll get pissed off because I'm typing it in right, and it still it shakes and makes a little noise, and it gets aggravating. That's it. And kind of like playing Operation. If you ever played that game, one of the first electronic games I ever actually, the first electronic game I remember. Back when I was a kid, we had the game of Operation, and it would buzz when you touch the sides with the tweezers, and that thing would shock the living crap out of you sometimes, depending on, like, we'd be sitting around playing that game in our socks, or maybe some of us would be barefooted, but actually I think what I figured out is if you're in your socks, you've been running around on the carpet, and you got a lot of static electricity built up, in your body, and then it seems to amplify that little shock in the Operation game. I remember not just me, but the other ones of us. First, it happened to like my sister or somebody, and they were like screaming. And I was like, "That doesn't hurt. What's wrong with you?" And then it did to me. I don't know. I guess because it's close to Christmas, I'm thinking of Operation. That's one of those fun games that you played all Christmas, all half the day on Christmas Day, and then you forgot about it for like 6 months. Maybe got it out twice before the next Christmas. But it was fun. And I got it for my kids. They did the same thing. So, and I know I've seen it in the last few years. It's still around. But, so I'm looking at my stuff here. Okay, so my passwords and stuff seem to be in order. Now, this is where we are. Usually we get a little further. Usually we get to about right in there. And it's where it fails. So, and usually, like I said, I usually pick more software. Let's see. Well, yeah, okay. See, 1,110 RPMs, and that's how many RPM files, and that's 212 so-and-so megabytes of 713 megabytes. See, it's getting not. It's not just taking them. The CD. The ISO file, which is I've got it on USB, but it's only like 515 megabytes. So it's downloading. It's just enough to point to everything and let it download everything. So it is slower than the DVD or the the DVD, of course, is like at 3.5 gigabytes. But then there are other ones that are like under 2 gigs, like 1.5 gig or something. They like the Mate desktops, for instance. It doesn't go and download the files from the internet. It's installing everything straight off of your CD, or well, it wouldn't be a CD, a DVD, or you'd have to burn that ISO to a DVD or a USB stick, which most people like me use a USB stick now. But so it's faster. Like I said, by now the Mate desktop would have probably pretty well been done by the time I got done figuring out my passwords and everything. Which is pretty cool. That's the fastest I've ever seen Fedora install. But in this case, since I'm using NetInstall and it's downloading the newest versions of every RPM, then, it takes a little while. And I didn't, but like I said, I had been selecting around 1,500 apps, so RPMs to be downloaded. And so it was taking even longer to get to the point of the failure. So now I do know that, well, at least in Fedora 28, I don't know that I ever just did a basic. I could go through and only select, do Fedora, the default Fedora Web, whatever they call it, Web Server Edition, and then just to select the things that are in that right side, the check boxes, and then it should just work. Still going to be, a little slower than than the other ones, like I was saying, but that should just work without any errors, I would expect. But, oh, so yes, okay, so I do know whatever I select in those other groups, like I've been doing, it does try to install them because, well, no, wait, that publishing one, that's actually in pretty much all the groups. So, yeah, so I still don't know. I won't know until, if this finishes and doesn't fail, if I have a XFCE desktop and my web servers and all that, I'm sure I'll have the web servers because I've installed from that radio button web server. I should have all that for sure. But if I don't have XFCE, then I'll have to just use the group install commands to install it. I'll probably use remote admin to do it, use Cockpit. You can do it right on the machine, but then you don't have any way to copy and paste your commands, and I just can't type those long commands out. So I always do it. I always do my, things like that remotely whenever I can now. If I have to work in the command line on when I'm making whether I'm making a video or not, I want to do it remotely so that I can copy and paste into the terminal. Only thing is, if you use PuTTY, you can't copy and paste into PuTTY, so it's not much help in that respect. PuTTY's a remote app for terminal connections and SSH and different things like that. I think there's others besides, luckily with the server, you've got Cockpit with a terminal, and you can copy and paste into it. I've done it a lot recently in videos. There's another one I ran into before you could do that. Oh, well, any regular terminal you can do it in. You just got to get the commands and do an SSH connection into the machine, remote shell connection, and then you can do it that way. I keep forgetting about that. I just don't do it because I can't remember the commands. And PuTTY's a graphic user interface, but you could open up any basic terminal and do that. I started to say, well, get out of here. But for instance, I don't know. Now there is a distinction between shell terminals and let's see, what's the other kind? Let's see, the one I use on this machine mostly is May terminal. What is the other? I ran into it recently. I had to have a terminal that supported, now I can't think of the name, but there's particular support that I needed. And used to, there was just different kinds of terminals, but now a lot of them support multi-protocols. So, and I don't have a clue what the commands are to do a remote connection, and I don't really want to try that right now. I don't want to mess anything up, right? But one of them I like is the one in, let's see. Gotta wait. I'm trying to do a search and it hasn't even opened the search app yet. But there's one. What's that? GTK term, targeted developers. I guess I thought that. Oh, that's part of my group installs. I don't think I've ever opened it. Mate, then just terminal, XFCE. There's another one called console. It's a KDE terminal, KONSOLE. I want to see what this one is. I like a couple things I like about it. One of them is that configuration file home done GTK with default has been created. Oh, okay. Do a screenshot of that so I'll have a clue. I thought it was going to say you got to go do something. Cannot open dev TTY permission denied. Okay, so you probably got to go do some configuration to make it work. This is it's saying it's used to communicate with the serial port. I thought, yeah, TTY. Yeah, so that's a special purpose one. What do we got? Okay, it's still working. So yeah, let's open up. So what I do like to do a lot is there's two things I like about. If I'm in Crusader, let's say I had something I wanted to run in here. I don't have anything over here, but I would I put all these shortcuts up here. Open terminal here, so it opens a terminal right there, right here in this folder wherever you're at, and that is, see, I'm in home. I'm in downloads. So I think if I could do list. Okay, I always forget which one is which. list or dir. Oh, bash. There it is. Bash. See, this is a bash. This terminal supports bash. It is a bash terminal, or like I said, some of them aren't actually what's considered a bash terminal, but they support bash commands. But the other thing is, oh, I typed that dir too soon. Oh no, it worked. See, now it shows Linux, it shows my folder. So it's not list, it's dir. A list might be for Windows, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember right now. So anyway, then if you want to, like you do a whole bunch of, I like to save my output, especially when there's errors and I want to see it again in case I want to try to figure out how to work around it. Or if it works and, okay, here's a bunch of good commands, you know, to run. You just go to File, Save Output As, and you can save the output as a text file. The only drawback I found is when I do a long bunch of commands, a whole lot of text in there, pages, several pages worth, it can't save that many. And what it'll do, it won't, it starts dropping off the first commands is what it does. And so you might get a third of what you ended up doing. So that's why I went back to file working good. Looks like, yeah, I think so. Well, I'll leave it up until I'm sure it changes. It's getting to be over a gig, so now it's slower. It's showing that it changed. But that's why I started using make terminal again, because it doesn't cut you off. I've never seen it cut me off, no matter how many commands I run in there. And then I just have to copy and paste and then open up, you know, a text editor or LibreOffice and make a text file. And I do that quite a bit. Let's just go ahead. I'll tell you what, I'll go to my documents and go to, let's see. I was thinking of my, or I might, let's go back and check on our install. I don't want it to be done and then, it doesn't look like it's moved any yet, but it's where we at. We have done 464 megabytes of 713, so we're getting on down the road. Okay, so let's do it that way. Maybe I'll see it. Oh, I think it might be under DNF. No. Scripts. No. Group. Nope. It's got to be Fedora. I don't know where I put that stuff. I don't have, you know, in my backup drive, I've got all kinds of stuff. I don't believe it's under Yum. Well, let's go to Yum and see what's in there. Go back to newest. I'm sure there'll be some scripts in there. That's what, there'll be plenty of them, but like here's some that are made into scripts. That's Fusion 14. That's pretty old. Well, let's go to my backup server. I know they're in there. I thought I had it. Maybe I never did copy any back over here. Backup, not backup server, backup drive. If I could type, maybe I was typing DMF all along and I couldn't find it. There in F install scripts. That's probably over there. I didn't see it. Okay, so Fedora 27. That's my mom's. And see, these are just text files. I haven't. That's just a list of the apps on that system. But down here, this is something I turned into Fedora 23. Install scripts. This is one that I made. This is not even the one that I was looking for. This is not the newest. This is from 2017. Sometimes I make a new folder over here, you know, and in my home directory, and then it gets backed up with a slightly different name. But we can view it. Let's go over here and make sure where we're at. Yeah, we're working away. Okay, so I took an article, 24 things to do after first installation of Fedora 23, and turned the whole thing into a script. And here's where this is all what you need to do to turn it into a script. You start out with bin bash init and then a bash script. And I think there's other types of scripts, and this is the only thing I know how to do, the only thing I've learned how to do. and I don't remember those commands. I just copy them and paste them. And notice that they have the comments in front of them, but that doesn't comment them out. That's the one case where I know of the number sign doesn't comment out what's right after it when you're making a script. Now, otherwise, that's all commenting it out. It's being ignored. But DNF update, do that first. DNF Y install, that's what I was talking about earlier. And then I have a list, Firefox, ClamAV, and you just separate them with a space. And then you can't have a return. You notice it looks like there's a return there. You can't have a return when you do it like that. So if you, thing's not responding right. There's actually, if I take, let's see, go to the view. My machine is not running so good. I may have to, and turn off word wrap. It could be this app that it opened it up in. Turn that off, and then it will show that it's all one line. And when I've done the ones that have like 3,000 apps from a Fedora 14 system, then that's a long, most viewers can't even show it. But anyway, let's go see what's going on over here. Nothing seems to be overworking, but something's going on here. I don't know if it's this viewer, that's K viewer, or what, but something seems to be making it work hard. I don't want my video to get broken just because I'm showing little side stuff. Let's go see something little, see if I have, maybe I have another one's DNF scripts or something. Yeah, DNF Fedora 27, DNF install scripts, that must be the one. Yeah, 11.26.18, 7. Yeah, this has got the newest stuff. That's why I didn't. What was that other thing right below it? Oh, DNS benchmark. Okay, now let's do that by. Can't see which way the arrow's pointing. There we go. Okay, 7.12.18. Yeah, 7.10.16. So what's this one? Okay, that's a script. Now let's open it with some other app. Yeah, kwrite. When you go down here and hit View, it opens it with that other little app that's built into Crusader. But if I could have just double-clicked and it would open with kwrite. So back to, that's my favorite text editor anyway. So there's back to just basically the same thing, but I changed this one up a bit. This is a newer one, so I added it to automatically set up the RPM Fusion repos. So I do the Y updates and put Y so that it goes ahead. /Y tells it to go ahead and say yes to everything, so it doesn't hang up and wait for you to answer it. And then install or not really install, but set up the RPM Fusion repos or repositories, and then Y install some of my hand typed. And it's got skip broken. I don't think I had skip broken in there in the other one. So that's something that way you won't hang up if you got skip broken in there. And then a bunch of the apps. I never can remember names of the apps that sometimes I sit down and I look at, okay, what do I got up here, and I put it in there. But you got to spell it right or it won't work. Oh, Phoronix. I put Phoronix in there. I never did actually get that to run right. That's a system profiling app. LSHW is hardware lister, oddly enough. LSHW stands for hardware lister. Maybe it's so old that I figured that you couldn't make any longer of a name than that back in the day, when they first came out with it. That's what I'm guessing. Don't know. But, and then these are all commented out. These are from my group commands, right? Okay, DNF, group list, and that's what came up. And then the ones that I wanted, I just, didn't comment them out and put DNF Y group install XFCE desktop. That's how you would install XFCE. Put a note to myself there. I commented it out. That's not part of the command. Y was here in the article. This is from an article. Okay. Well, there was a different article from the one I showed you a while ago. This is one on how to use the group install commands and group lists and group. Really, it was on how to use the group list commands, and then I turned it into an install script because I already knew how to do DNF, Y install and group install, and stuff. So these are all the things that I put on my Fedora 28 system that I'm running right now. I ran this script after I built it. The ones in red, blue and red, are the ones that got ran and installed. But I don't want all this on my server, audio production. I was going to say the thing that I was having trouble with, it installed just fine. I've never authoring and publishing, never had trouble with it. So we're at 704 of 713 megabytes. Let's go ahead and watch that. I think we're getting close to. Oh well, it's got them. Oh, it's still just downloading. Then it has to install everything. So we'll wait until it switches over to install. Then I'll go back to my script. Getting where I need a break, but I didn't want to break this video up before I find out what's going to happen. So if I can wait, I'll wait. I'm hoping I'm not waiting until another failure. But here we are at 711 of 713. So when it gets to, we're getting there. You want to go 1098, but I could never get that. I would never get the seconds right. Those numbers change faster than I can read them, and that's not very fast. There we go. Okay, so now it's preparing transaction from installation source. So which is in your I guess it downloads it to your RAM. Well, it probably downloads it onto the hard drive somewhere in a temp file, probably. So now it should begin to do the install here in a minute. And that thing's always coming up with that hot dog. That's been on there for years. I don't know why they love that so much. Make Fedora better. Join the Fedora project. Yeah, and I think you can click on some of those maybe. I'm not sure. I don't want to. So I guess in a minute we'll be seeing it showing installing. So we'll come back in a minute. Machine doing okay? Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, it's still preparing. Okay, so back to my script. Yeah, I've got plenty of things in there that I went ahead and installed. Oh, there it is. Authoring and publishing. See, I had no problems with it in there. And I didn't put any skip broken in there either. Well, the skip broken's at the very beginning, but I think that only applies to that. I think what happens, there's two different ways. I didn't mention that. That's one way you can do a list, is like that. I'm wondering why there is a percent there. That could be a problem with that. Oh, no, it's not a problem. That's not the list. This is the list. Yeah, you should be able to like change the view, turn off word wrap. See, now it's one long line. And it's fine. It's not bad, for the editor when you're doing just a few. But if you have a bunch, then and it defaults to that word wrap. If you have a bunch, then some of them can't handle it, and some of them will even make it look like it's word wrapped, even though it's not. And the only way you can really know, well, the way I built all that and got that all straightened up, that's a whole other story. But I use LibreOffice, and that's how I got these. I did not manually put a hash. I started to say hashtag because the whole world calls number signs hashtag now, but I did not put those the number sign comment out tags by manually. I use LibreOffice to automatically put them in there. That's actually how come there's an extra few spaces in there, but I realize that doesn't hurt the functionality and it looks nice. Makes it pretty. It beautifies it. So, yeah, so anyway, I didn't have any, what I was trying to say is skip broken. I think that only applies to that section, that line. I don't think it applies down here because I ended up having to, I think I experimented with and without the Y install, and I decided I needed it because it would hang up and ask you to answer questions if you didn't have DNF. Y, well, normally it's Y install, but in this case, Y install like that. I'm using the cursor, by the way, if you haven't figured out what I'm doing on the keyboard. I guess I should use the mouse. It's a lot more noticeable. But anyway, Y group install. And I don't know, I like the cursor. It highlights it a little bit. That's why I was doing that. So anyway, all these work. No problems with any of these that I remember. Well, now I will say, Well, there were a few that did come back with some errors saying so and so not found, and I think I just took them out. Like if it hung it up or anything. I think I worked through that. I think I did do that, but I didn't have any trouble. For one thing, I know for sure, authoring and publishing. That's the first time I've ever seen it give a problem and say something was missing was here with this Fedora 28 and 29 net install. So I'll stop there. Just leave it right there. And go back and look. Where are we? Okay, see, now we're installing. Tells you just what files. See, it's going pretty fast. What files it's installing. And we're at 73 of 1110. I can't even read that number. 1,110. Yes, I can. If I really try. Yes, I think I can. All right, if I try, I can. Number. Well, it's moving and jumping around. It's hard for me to read it. Really hard. Okay, so like this command here, DNF group info genome. That tells you what's going to. So you can decide. Do I want to install this group? So. Yeah, that's how they sing now, don't they? See, I used to sing. I haven't really done it much in years, but I got used to sing. I had a couple of albums online there on my DonsSongs.com website. You can download them for free. Commercial break. Free commercial break. Non-monetary, free, and I won't say that my music is really, my license is not like completely Creative Commons open source where you can have my music for free, but I don't want you recording it and making money off of it and not sharing no money with me. That's the only thing I would say about all that. If you want to make some money off of it, then you better pay me. It's only fair. Okay, so I don't want you to remix my songs, change the words, music, all that stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. So far, nobody's done that I know of. Okay, so anyway, this is that from that command, and I just commented all of that out from that DNF group info genome. And of course, I already have the. Well, I don't want genome. The genome. I guess it was a genome desktop that it's talking about. Anyway, I didn't even want that installed. So. But I did install dial-up networking. Let's see, where's the next command? I wonder. It's kind of hard to find the commands. I wish there was an automatic. These colors are automatic. I didn't set that up. Well, anyway, somewhere there. Dial-up networking. How did that? Maybe that's still part of the group genome. I think it's part of the group genome. So I guess it's really Gnome, but I've always said it genome. But no, I think of a yard gnome when I say gnome, but genome I think of a desktop. So, of course, genome would really be, your what we're made of, our genomes. So I think that's spelled as in yard gnome, but I always say it wrong. A lot of people do, I think. So anyway, then again, maybe they do have it. I don't know. I'm not a good speller. I guess I could go look it up, but maybe they have it spelled like genome. Okay, let's find out. I know. I always say I don't want to do that right now. Man, it's been years and years and years. I think I have looked it up. All right, so we'll do it right now. We'll sell this right now. Genome. What is genome? If I'd waited for that page to load, it might have worked, huh? This thing is... see, yard gnomes, G-N-O-N-E, just what I thought. There's a yard gnome right there. Gnome 3, elegant and easy way to use your computer. Gnome 3. Gnome. Some people say gnome, but it's all. I think the proper, from what I understand, the proper pronunciation is gnome. Why would you put a G in front of a word? Probably because it came from German or something language. I'll guess. But I'm not going to go read those. But there we go. What else? Genome 3, genome in a dictionary. There we go. That's what I was thinking of. Where's the dictionary? Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Dictionary.com. What's that? More help us. Christmas time is the time to give me money. Okay. There's the other one I'm always talking about. What's the difference between IE and EG? Yes, I do want to know that. Okay, we'll do this first. Okay, noun, genome, or gnome, noun. And if I don't remember how to read the little symbols, I don't actually see any right now. In folklore, one of a species of diminutive beings, usually described as shriveled little old men, shriveled, that inhabit the interior of the earth and act as guardians of its treasures, or troll, an expert in monetary or financial affairs, international banker, financier. I didn't know they called bankers gnomes, did you? Origin of gnome, Greek, nothing to do with German. Genome-ish, adjectives, synonyms for genome. Goblin, sylph, Noun, a short, pithy expression of a general truth, aphorism. Original of Genome 2. No, Genome 2, that's the desktop I like. That's what they mean. Fairy, elf. So a gnome, I kind of figured that, but gnomes are considered fairies and elves and all that sort of thing. Shriveled up little old men, which I might be before long. Hopefully not. But there's the Wikipedia. Oh yeah, let's see. Well, that's showing that it's a desktop environment. I'm just going to put those all in the same little group. I haven't been to the Genome 3 page in so long. Now, this is about the original genome. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. Just do that and get all this closed. The other one is actually that. Oh, this has one of those little videos. I like to watch those. But right now, I just want to get that, close other tabs. At least it was nice enough not to be playing audio at me when that would have been a problem in my little video here that I'm making. Working away. It's got to 621. I won't play the video right now. Oh, I hate when they do that. If I wanted to see it, I would stay up there. I don't want this crap jumping all over the page. I don't care if I like your site or not. Look at that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you, all right? This site's smart aleck, isn't it? Okay, what's the difference between IE and EG? They may be small, but their power to befuddle writers and speakers of the English language is mighty. Yes, it is. The term IE is short for the Latin expression IDEST, which translates to that is. It is used to introduce a phrasing or elaboration on something that has already been stated. The term EG is an abbreviation for the Latin expression exempli gratia, meaning for the sake of example. So the one I grew up being taught and the one I used is less accurate to what I'm using it for as EG, for the sake of example, or more colloquially, for example. This term is used to introduce examples for something that has already been stated. So of all things, most of the stuff these kids do these days and write is wrong and weird and makes no sense, and they're actually right this time. I get so I've been ranting about it lately. Why do they keep using EG? What does it even mean? And I didn't really take time to look it up. I guess it's a very common thing these days because people nowadays are using, and it just I've been on the internet every day, all day since 1998. So It's just in the last couple of years that I see EG instead of IE. So somebody out there told everybody, hey, you're doing it wrong. Now they're using EG. Here's an example use of IE. I like citrus fruits, i.e. the juicy, edible fruits with leathery, aromatic rinds. Leathery, aromatic rinds. Wow, aren't you a descriptor? The example, i.e., introduces the elaboration on the fruits. Okay. Well, most of the time when I'm doing IE, I probably am elaborating. Okay. Well, not always. I mean, I guess elaborating or, for example, is kind of very closely related, aren't they? Here is when you're writing stuff out. For example, using EG. I like citrus fruits, e.g. tangerines, lemons, and limes. Okay. Well, I'm doing it right. Most of the time I'm doing it more like that. The example e.g. introduces, but when people say e.g., well, we all do. They go back and forth. They're not none of us is really using this stuff right. We just didn't know it. In the example e.g. introduce, okay, blah 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 blah. That's really actually very interesting to me. I couldn't understand why people just started doing that. Why would to me EG just I never heard of it before, and it was so off the wall. This is where I put stuff like that. Okay, let's close that so I'll quit looking stuff up. Where are we? We're at 781 of 1100 and so on. Okay, so there we go. I don't know why I got off into that. Why did I get off into that? Build system building group. As you can see, let's just go on down a little. I have a very long script here. There is a lot of groups I pulled out of all that stuff and installed them just because they looked interesting. And about half of them, I'm afraid to say. The rest of them I knew what they were and I wanted to use them. Now that live CD tools is so you can turn your the distro you've got set up turn it into a live CD. Of course, it wouldn't be a CD now; it'd be a DVD or a USB. But anyway, you can make your own remix of your system, of your live system, not just live system, but the system you have on your hard drive. Could be a live system, but why would you do that if you're on a live system? Well, if you couldn't, I've done it. You can install apps, and like in Fedora, you can go now DNF, installs 2 or 3 apps, and then use live CD tools to make you a new live CD with those apps on it. Next time you boot it, you'll have that. Well, that's a whole different thing. Well, no, it isn't. It makes you a live CD. We'll just say CD, because that's what they call it. And then you could go ahead and install it if your live CD is set up for installation. So, being where I did install that, and that's where you get all that box stuff and all that. I have tried it. Finally did try it on Fedora 28 or something, and it booted up just fine and ran just fine. Other things I tried failed and wouldn't boot. Got aggravated and just went back to VirtualBox, the one that I always use. It is, though, not fully functional because it's proprietary software. It's not open source, or not fully open source. If they claim it is, and it's not fully, I can say that. There's so much more, see, that I'd left out. So that group install is really cool. And then once I'm done, update it one more time. But as you can see, it would take a long, long time to go through that and figure out what you want and don't want. So that's why I didn't want to do this if I didn't have to. But it's all the trouble I've had with the net install. Yeah, that's still working over there. With all the trouble I've had with the net install, it's working, but it's not going fast anymore. Adwada icon theme. Maybe it's just a big file. I hope it's not quitting on me and hanging up. I could have already installed the base Fedora server, basic web server and FTP server like I've done before, and off the net install, and then and make sure I get remote cockpit remote admin and stuff, and then use that terminal to just run my script, set up my script the way I want it. I don't want to turn it into a full desktop, just add the things that, like I just did here in this video, add the things I really want. just some basic, I want to be able to play a video if I need to for instructional purposes. Generally was why I would do it on the server, to watch how to fix something or whatever. Be able to, especially now that it's going to be in the garage, that's more important. I can't just use my KVM switch and switch over. If I'm out there in the garage doing something, I had originally thought, well, I'll just leave the keyboard and mouse plugged into it, and anytime anybody wants to do something on the computer out there, they can just do it. And then I thought, yeah, and then they'll hang it up, lock it up, or forget and turn it off, and my server will be down. So I just quit plugging in the mouse and keyboard to it. And I just make, because it's a server, it's set up. I set it up in BIOS to, when the power goes out and turns back on, it automatically boots back up. And whether the desktop's running or not, the server's still going to be running, so the website will still be online. That's how, just how servers run by default, and that's how I want mine, So, but if I want to go out there and get on it, and for whatever reason, I have other computers out there, so if I was just wanting to look up something, I'd do that. And I have others that I just need to install operating systems on and stuff. But I got I've got the old, for instance, the Gateway 500 that I have been using for looking things up if I'm working on something out there or something. Well, sometimes I connect to the machines in here with a remote desktop and check my email and stuff while I'm outside and working in the garage. It's getting on up there, 990. I guess it's not going to let me point to it. It's going to keep jumping around. Depends on how long the word of the file it's installing. But put it over there because it bugs me when it does that. So anyway, I have plenty of old machines to play with, so there's no need for this to be accessible to anyone but me. And I could set something else up that's connected to the keyboard and mouse out there. Well, actually, I have 2 keyboards and 2 mice, but only 1 monitor now. I used to have 2 out there, but one of them started smoking, and well, it's been doing it on and off for years, but I didn't hardly ever turn it on. But the last time I had it on, it was smoking, and I could see sparks down in it. So there's something really failing in it. Still working away. But so I unplugged it for safety. I didn't want it to start a fire, And so anyway, I've got plenty of options for having a machine to look things up on out there in the garage. You just set one up for all you got to do is just turn it on and you're online. You'll get on the wireless for the router. That's a wireless repeater out there will get you online, which is why my server's online. Yeah, and that reminds me, the next thing, if this works like it's supposed to and I get everything all the way I need it, then I'm going to have to put, right now, I'll just plug it into the Linksys that's already out there with DDWRT on it, but like I said before 100 times, it's not working well, and I'm afraid it may be part of the reasons why my website was showing to be down quite often when on the IBM when it was out there. And anyway, I'm gonna reformat the flash the firmware on the not the D-Link, the TP link with DDWRT, or maybe just WRT, because one thing I like about WRT that I saw recently, I was reading up on it, it will automatic update just like any regular. It's more like a Linux operating system, and it will do automatic updates. Well, DDWRT, you have to find the newest one, make sure it fits your machine, your router, your chip, and then if they come out with an update, you got to manually install it. Well, you may never get around to that, unless you're really into doing that. I've been into reading about it for years and years, and I just finally did that Linksys router just a year or 2 ago, and maybe it was last year. But they don't make any more updates on it. It's so old. But the TP-Link, I believe they possibly might make some updates for it, and the D-Link will actually support the open source firmware too. So DDWRT for sure, and I may put that on here if I can get around to it. I just haven't done it because I kind of hate to do it to them when they're still in warranty, because if they break it, then completely. Well, if you brick it, you brick it either way. But anyway, I don't know. I just don't like to do it right away. But anyway, I just haven't. It's my main router. You know, I have to take everything offline to do it. That's why I didn't do the others most of all. I was a bit afraid of breaking them because I'm not good at following instructions that are complicated. I'm not good at following instructions, period. I'm good at figuring things out on my own. And detailed instructions like that gets tricky for me. So I was a little worried. And the Linksys, I was using it as my main. It was the only router I had that would point to my server, the IBM server, the IBM desktop that I made into a server. For some reason, it's something weird about its network card. It was the only one that would point to it, and so until I got the new D-Link, you know, the D-Link will point to anything I want to point it to. So until then, I couldn't really see another way to do it. So yeah, and once I get the NetProMax all, let's see. Oh, it's configuring the kernel, so it's done with the installations. Now this is the general area it was in when it failed the last time. That's what is weird. I think yeah, because I've seen it say configuring kernel. I think every time. So we're not out of the woods yet, I don't think. But I keep being afraid I'm going to click something and cancel the installation, but I don't think you can actually do that from here. Hopefully not. But so get the Fedora 29 server on the Fedora, you know, NetProMax. That's what I'm installing right now. And once it's up and ready to go, then go ahead and put it outside on the Linksys router, and we'll get to see how well it does. And then next thing I need to do is put DDWRT or WRT. Those are the two ones I like the best. I think. I've tried out some other ones in virtual machines, and well, they were mostly firewall stuff, you know, IP cop and different things like that. But get that on the TP-Link and then put it out there, and it's capable, I believe, of 750 megabits wirelessly. And this one will do about I think the max is 1200 on the D-Link, so I should have, you know, at least 750. Well, you know, if you're connected to the D-Link, you should get up to 1100, 1200 megabits wirelessly if you had something that was capable of that. I don't have anything capable of that wirelessly, period, not even close, you know. The laptops are 54 megabits, the phones are 72 at max I've ever seen them do, 75 maybe. I generally don't do anywhere near that. It's usually 15 to 35. And so anyway, I should have good coverage because the D-Link will be on this end of the house. I'm on the very, you know, next to the outside wall, and then down on the other end is the garage, and so it'll be on the next to the outside wall within 12 inches of it, you know. And so I should have good coverage throughout the whole house. And so, you know, but the way I understand how it works is if you walk closer to the other router, then your device will automatically it doesn't reconnect. It's still on the same network, same name, but the actual signal will be routed through the other router back to this router. That's the way I gather that it works. So should be good all around, you know. And then hopefully, if I want to carry my phones out there and do a live video out in the garage or out there in the driveway, it should work. I think. I hope so. It did. Let's see which one. It helped some. I did see that it helped some. I don't remember if it was the Linksys or the TP-Link. I think it was ZoneNet. The ZoneNet was the one I had out there first for several years, and then it got to where it's about to die. Well, actually, it may not be the hardware dying. It could be that the newer routers all over mine and the neighbors' routers are walking on it, on its older technology signal, you know. Could be the only thing wrong with it, but whatever the case, it won't do. It's getting down to 1 megabit, you know, download speed. Forget the upload speed. And Linksys generally, I've seen it go between about 2.5 up, 15 down, which it used to always do on the wireless. It would always do the full 54 megabits. It always used to. And then sometimes it would jump up by like 30 down or something. What I did is I set up at auto speed tests, testmine.net. I turned it on one of the desktops to test the internet speed, and of course it goes through the Wi-Fi to the D-Link to the internet, right? So you get a real test of what your wireless speed is. So, and it kept testing every 10 minutes over and over for like an hour, you know, and so I saw a good range of what was going on. I haven't done that in a while, so I don't really know exactly what's been going on. It could be that it changes drastically between the heat and the cold and all that sort of thing. How long it's been running, how many days it's been running and stuff. But hopefully I'll get all that in good shape, because I do know that my IBM ran even in, like I said, even in 111 degree weather on that Linksys in the garage. It ran and stayed connected through that day. I remember I just thought surely it wasn't going to make it. And some more days. Last summer we had a week, or at least a week of days between 108 to 112 about a week of those days, and it stayed online. The only caveat to that is, let's see, I don't guess I can show it right now. Well, I guess I can. Let's see. While I'm talking about all that, and since that thing is just spinning a circle and not doing anything right now, my only other problem here, I'm right now for the last maybe 2 weeks or more, I'll go to Uptime Robot, what I use to see if my servers are online. There's 2 of them that I use. Uptime Robot. Now, Uptime Robot. Now, here we go. See, we got a lot of red on DonsOngs.com. And it says it's okay right now. Been up for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Now, they're all on the same server, and it's my red black Battlestar that's connected to the D-Link, wired to the D-Link. It hasn't been given any trouble. I did a little. Did have a BNC server running on it all the time, and it was actually making the machine overwork at times. I don't know what it was doing, so I just turned it off, took it out of the startup, And it's been quite a few days since I did that, so it's no problems overall, because all the other sites they've been up. See, well, that's Don Songs, but this one, bishopco.us.2. That's my free forwarding URL. But it's going to this server. 28 hours. bishopco.biz, 28 hours. Let's see. What was that? Down. But now just for like less than a minute, they'll show to be down. And I think that's evidently this one has a short timeout. Is what I figure. It's probably 10 seconds or something, or maybe even less. And there's no way that they won't let you change it. I've seen these monitoring services where you could change the timeout to what you wanted it to be. Like I use 20 seconds or sometimes even 30 seconds. That's a long time. People would probably quit waiting by after 20 seconds anyway. It's not considered good, 10 seconds is not considered good, but sometimes those things happen, especially with, home servers and all that stuff. But old slow machines, home internet connection, all that. But anyway, the DonsOngs.com, you can see here these are all green, which means, well, there you go, 81% uptime, and it averages out over time. So that says last 24 hours, though, doesn't it? I think you can click on it. No, you can. I'm going to say you can click on it and go longer than 24 hours. But yeah, that's the last 24 hours. So 81%, 76, 80%, and used to I was 99, 98, 99% is what I stayed at. Even back, and I know it wasn't this low back in the summer. My whole example there of how I do realize I can run my servers in the garage even in the hot weather, as long as I keep fans on them. I did have serious fans going on them, blowing right at them. But otherwise, they'll overheat and they'll shut themselves down. I was told about. I was out there trying to make videos, and the phone started doing that, and I had to quit trying to make videos. That's when I realized I was about to shut down. I need to go in, but. Anyway, I guess that was the day it was 111, and that's when I realized, my gosh, I'm out here barely making it at 111, and the server's still working away. I went out when it was cooler in the early morning, and it was about 3 in the afternoon. But anyway, so you can go to the next set there. but it does it constantly. Everything in the same machine, just in different folders, you know. But for some reason, DonsDeals.com keeps showing to be down on this Uptime robot. Let's go see what we got. I hear it making noise. Still configuring system. So it's not doing the kernel anymore. It's configuring. I think it's either like actually configuring programs, you know, editing configuration files, or it's actually just installing stuff. Verifying. Now I think it's verifying installations is what I think it's doing. So it's moving along pretty good. So I'm hoping. Now this is about the point where it failed before. That's where the blue line was. Right in here, right when you think installing a bootloader. Okay, now that might be a good thing. That might mean we got past all those points where it failed before. I think it would mean that. Yeah, it would have to. So if it's installing grub bootloader, then that means that we may be home free on our errors of missing dependencies, you know, what was happening before. So yeah, grub's installed. Configuring installed system. I figured that would be pretty fast. That's why I stayed there. Creating users, generating iNet RAM FS, and so I think we may be okay. I'm not going to say we're okay, because every time I thought we were okay, the last 4 times or so maybe even 5 times, some unexpected error came up and killed me. Killed my install. Didn't kill me, but killed my install. So I don't want to go away, but I hate sitting there staring at a screen like that too. It is good to see. I mean, if you can be patient enough to watch, you'll learn what's going on if you'll sit there and watch. But that's something I would have thought would have been quick. You know, I figured it would go away before I got through reading it, but it's still there. I always call that iNet frames because in my head, usually, sometimes out loud, because I see letters and numbers swapping in front of my eyes. And that's the two that usually swap. It's iNet RAM FS. I saw it and said it right this time. I'm pretty proud about that. But I have for years seen that. I notice it, and I think you feel like something's wrong, but you don't quite know what it is. Well, for years I see it that way. Some of them I see them different every time I see them. But still show. Now, that's what's funny is we were way up here close to the end, and now that it's doing something different, now we're showing a different progress bar. So I always watch them. I can't help it, but those progress bars really aren't all that accurate as to how long it's really going to take. You know, because a minute ago you saw them, it just jumped to the end. It had been sitting there, you know, like it was about right in here, and then all of a sudden it jumped. And then it did another thing. And then it did another thing right there while we were watching. So I don't know why I even look at them. Those things make me think something's happening when they change their advertisement. I did install LibreOffice. Thank you for reminding me. Why? Okay, well, there's no point in just sitting there staring at that. So anyway, this is the one problem I still have is DonsDeals.com going up and down. And the only thing I've really just been putting it off because I had so many other things, mostly Christmas shopping lately to do. But I had planned, and I kept forgetting to go to GoDaddy.com. And I've talked about it. I've looked into it. And I'm not going to go there now because I don't want to have to go log in and all that stuff. But, what I was wanting to go look at was, see, I'm at Uptime. Let's see, Monostatic, I think is it. I wanted to look at the other monitor. That's something I've noticed. Okay, so, well, DonsDeals is showing to be up, but sometimes lately, I can log in here to Monostatic, and it will show that they're all up. So that's why I think, now see, they should all be up right now. I can't do more than 3, so I don't have bishopco.biz in there. But that's actually within the last 30 minutes. I only test every 30 minutes. So if you want to know what, go ahead and click that reload or retest, test right now. Check now is what it says. And you know, if you get enough, and if they're down, then it'll show you right away. It won't show you right away. And oh, I thought they were set on 6 hours for a minute. That's saying add a new site, but you can't. They only give you 3 for free. You can pay and do more. So I used to use another one, and it just, I don't know if they dropped me because I didn't log in for a long time, or if they just, what they did, but this is a Montastic. There's another one called Monstatic. No. Yeah, this is Montastic. Monetis. One called Monetis that I can't log into anymore, so I just didn't want to mess with it because I think I remembered I didn't like their interface. It was real confusing and hard to use and stuff. Very involved, much more involved than either of these, and that's probably the one where you're allowed to set your timeout and all that. But yeah, this one I'd have to, if Donsong showed to be down over here, then it may or may not show to be down over here. That's what I was trying to get at. And of course you can go to your site, but that gets really tricky because your browser always wants to go to the shortest path, so it will generally do it. If it can figure out that it's on your local LAN, it's done. The install. It will go on the local LAN instead of through the internet. So those monitors, external monitors like that, are really, really worth using. Okay, fantastic. Finally, complete. Fedora 29 installation. I gotta do me a screenshot of that. I don't know why. Now watch it not work because I'm on remote desktop. I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't think it's going to. Well, that's all right. Okay, so yeah, reboot it. Well, let's just do the reboot and see what happens. We'll lose our connection, of course. So there we go, connection loss. So evidently it's rebooting. I hear it. Okay, let's go on the camera and we can watch. Oh, first we got to switch to camera mode. Let's close that. I'm not going to catch much of it as slow as I am. Maybe we'll catch the tail end of it. There we go. Oh, you got to take that USB stick out. You know, at least I caught it before it booted to the USB stick again. Let me get it out of there. Okay, fantastic. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and hit. I've still got I'm on the switch the KVM switch to that machine, to the NetProMax. And so Control Alt Delete because we want to boot into our new operating system. Yeah, if I would have thought I could have, well, it might have jacked things up. So you might be able to unplug that USB stick, but of course, well, yeah, it would jack things up because you got that remote desktop app running. You got it's probably better to do it the way I did it, really, overall. Because there we go. We got Fedora 29 4.19 something kernel. So finally, now let's see if we're going to have XFCE desktop. Well, I was going to say, yeah, I think we do, but that would happen whether you were doing into a command line or a desktop, either way. Actually, that's the way it always looks when you're going straight to no desktop. So we'll see if we got our desktop. If we didn't, then well, now our experiment will have confirmed that what I tried to do did not work. And I will have to do all of my remote desktop, remote installations with the scripts and stuff like that. And what I'd have to do is copy my script file over to somewhere on the somewhere easy to get to, on on that hard drive, and then run it from there is what you have to do. But you can just use SFTP to do that, or I would use SFTP. Okay, no desktop. Just a normal server without the desktop. So all that stuff I selected in the other radio buttons, none of that went in there. Only the stuff I selected, I'm pretty sure, under the basic server, or not basic server, but Fedora server, whatever it's called, the default entry. So all that extra junk I selected was a waste of time. Did not do any of it. So we just have a terminal command line interface. It shows what it is, kernel, and localhost 90 or 9098. That's how you can log in. Yeah, 9090. That's the address you have to go to log in with console. So there's nothing we can do here, but you can. No, there is. You can log in. You can run commands. You can do whatever, but nothing I can do here. Now get back on my machine. Only thing is, I'm about to die for a break now. I did make it, but I'm about to come apart. So I got to go, but I do want to come back. I'm planning on coming back after my break and get into it, and we'll look at the remote. We'll open up Cockpit and look at it and everything. All right. So I'll be back after a while, hopefully, unless something goes wrong. Bye bye.